Hello everyone, hope you're all well. I wanted to continue on my legend series, and today I wanted to give Keith Miller of Australia, who played in the 30s and 40s, 50s, and he is widely regarded as Australia's greatest ever all rounder in the history of cricket. He was born in Victoria. His full name was Keith Ross Miller, and he was born in Victoria 28th November 1919. And in first class cricket, he played for Victoria, New South Wales, MCC, and also for Nottinghamshire in English County. He was actually regarded as the golden boy of cricket at at that time. His ability, obviously, on the cricket field, and the way his manners and his good looks as well, made him a very big crowd favorite. He was a big crowd puller in those times, and he was a very strongly built person as well. And being the greatest all-rounder of Australia as well, I mean, he was that lethal opening bowling partner of Ray Lindwall. Ray Lindwall and Keith Miller formed one of the most formidable lethal pace attacks in the world. They are one of the most famous opening bowling partnerships. And he played 55 Test matches for Australia, and he scored 2,958 runs at an average of 36.97, and he scored 700s, and his highest score was 147. And he also took 170 wickets, test wickets, at an average of 22.97, and he had 7 5-wicket hauls and 1 10-wicket haul. And in first class cricket, he scored more than 14,000 runs, and he scored 41 hundreds, and he also took 497 wickets in first class cricket. So he's someone who scored a lot of runs and a lot of wickets. I mean, at that time in cricket, 1930, 40, 50, I mean, if you have a batting average of almost 37 and a bowling average of around 22 with that many runs and wickets, you are definitely one of the big all-rounders. And when he retired in 1958, statistically, he had the best record as an all-rounder in cricket at that point. And he was a member of the invincible teams of Sir Don Bradman, the record-breaking team of Sir Don Bradman in the 1948s, and later known as the Invincibles that toured England. He was a member of that team. And he was actually a very powerful hitter of the cricket ball as a batsman. He combined elegant, classy stroke making with powerful hitting as well. And he has actually batted he used to bat up the order, and he has batted as high as number 3 in the Test team. And he once hit a ball on the first day, not the first day of the Test match, but in a Test match on one of the days, the first ball of the day, he hit it for a 6. And in those times, that never used to happen. I mean, even today in cricket, Test match cricket, it hardly used to happen. I mean, I know Virendra Sehwag has hit the first ball of a Test match for a 6, but it rarely happens in cricket. So he did that once, and once he hit a 6 that hit the upper deck of the grandstand at SCG, the Sydney Cricket Ground. So that is how powerful he was as a striker of the cricket ball. And he had all the shots. They say his straight drives were like a rifle shot. That is how his straight drives are considered like a rifle shot. So it was a very powerful straight drive that he had. And he also could play the pull shot very well. And he also played the sweep shot very well. And he was also a very elegant cutter of the cricket ball. And as a bowler, I mean, he had a very high arm classical action, and he was very fast. And he someone who really changed his run up a lot. He used to make adjustments to his run up a lot, and that was one of his variations as well. He was very well known for being unpredictable as a bowler, because sometimes he would bowl with a long run up and sometimes with a short run up, and sometimes he actually used to bowl his fastest deliveries with a short run up as well, which definitely would have surprised a lot of batsmen. And he had a very big lethal bouncer as well. And he did move the ball sharply either both ways. He had the leg cutter and the off cutter. and he also used to get a very good bounce of a good length. He could kick the ball up from good length. Obviously, he was a very powerfully built person as well, so he used to get that extra bounce from good length, and he used to move the ball both ways as well. And Sir Len Hutton of England, he once said that Keith Miller is the most unpredictable cricket player that he has ever played against. As a batsman and as a bowler, he was very unpredictable. Like I said, as a batsman, he was a very solid batsman, but anytime he could go into the destruction mode and he could score big runs, hit sixes at will. And as a bowler, I mean, changing his run up. So he was always someone who changed around things, and he was like very unpredictable. So no wonder Len Hutton said that he was the most unpredictable cricket player that he has played against. And he was also the Royal Australian Air Force pilot, Keith Miller. And he was also a very successful Australian rules football player. He played 50 games for the club St Kilda, and he was also selected to represent the Victorian state team in Australian rules football. So he was a very talented multi-sportsman as well, and obviously being very strongly built as well, he could play the Australian rules football. He was made for that. And I've heard a lot about Keith Miller. I've read a lot about him from old books. He was definitely regarded one of the greatest all-rounders in the old times, and he was a very lethal bowler. Obviously, I've said he opened the bowling with Ray Lindwall, and Lindwall and Miller were one of the most feared lethal fast bowlers of that time. With Sir Don Bradman's team, they were a really formidable team, and like I said, Keith Miller was part of the invincible team of Sir Don Bradman. And he played for Victoria and Victoria and New South Wales, and he made them into a very strong team in the Sheffield Shield state matches in Australia as well. And he contributed a lot to the Australian setup, the cricket setup in the 40s, 50s, and he retired in 1958. And sorry, I took a break. Something happened here. Keith Miller, definitely one of the greatest all-rounders of cricket, and Australia is definitely regarded as Australia's greatest all-rounder, test all-rounder. Australia has never had such an all-rounder of his caliber after that. I've heard so much about him from Richie Benaud, Bill Lawry, Mark Taylor, Alan Border, all of them are talking, especially watching cricket matches in Australia. I've heard so many things about Keith Miller and Lindwall, obviously as a fast bowler and also as an all-rounder, and the way he used to strike the ball. He was a powerful hitter of the cricket ball. I've heard many times they talking about that shot where he hit the upper deck of the SCG cricket ground at the grandstand, and also hitting the one of the first balls of the test day's play for a six, something that only a guy like Keith Miller would do at that time. He was a very crowd charmer, like he was a very big favorite of the crowd. He had a very colorful character as well. And he did play obviously pre-war and post-war. In that time, obviously cricket matches were halted because of the war. So that is my video on Keith Miller, and I have seen clippings of him. They've shown rare clippings on TV as well, and I've also checked out on YouTube some of the rare clips of Keith Miller. If you do get a chance, please sometime check on YouTube for Keith Miller. And if you can also check maybe with Ray Lindwall, there will be a lot of clips on Keith Miller. So that is my video on Keith Miller, Australia's greatest ever test all-rounder, someone who scored close to 3,000 runs at an average of around 37 and who took 170 wickets at an average of 22 point something, and someone who also scored for more than 14,000 first-class runs and took 497 wickets. And he was also a very fine fielder, and he was a very acrobatic catcher at the slip. So that is my video on Keith Miller. Hope you have enjoyed, and I hope it's new information for a lot of people. Please take care, and God bless you.